Well, let's get some analysis now with Trevor McCrisken, who's an Associate Professor of Politics and International Studies at the University of Warwick. Trevor, good to have you with us. So we clearly have got reporters all over these swing states, North Carolina, Iowa, Pennsylvania. Ultimately, this battle is going to come down to those swing states.
Oh, it will, very much so. And I think some of the examples of recent elections may be turned on their heads as well, because, as your reporter has just said, North Carolina and even South Carolina may be tipping towards Hillary Clinton. There are reports that she might also take Georgia. The southern states are states that Republican candidates have been able to rely upon in recent elections, but it doesn't look necessarily that Trump will be successful in those areas. Then again, there are northwest states around the Great Lakes, such as Michigan, Ohio, and other states in that region that may tip towards Trump because of the makeup of voters that are there. And again, that upsets the kind of balance of what we would expect. Democratic candidates tend to do better in those very blue-collar states in recent elections. So this could be a very difficult night for both candidates to be able to predict how their campaigns are going to be successful or not in particular states. As you say, it's very, very close to the wire in a number of swing states. So although it looks as though Clinton is marginally ahead, it could still tip either way.
Indeed. And how do you think each candidate can expect to do among the crucial minority vote, the black and Hispanic populations, and indeed among women? I mean, you'd expect Clinton to have the edge, despite all the scandal that's been dogging her.
Oh, absolutely. I think with those particular demographics, the African-American vote, probably in the region of 90 to 95% will go for a Democrat candidate, regardless of who it is. In the last few elections, that's certainly been the case. So I think she can bank on the African-American voters to tip her way. It looks like Hispanic voters also, who have been coming out in large numbers in the early voting that's been going on, again, they will be more likely to vote for a Democratic candidate and more likely to vote for Hillary Clinton. It's also been the case in elections for the last 20 years or so that more women have voted to begin with in the US, and more women are much more likely to vote Democrat. So again, with a woman actually running as the Democratic candidate, you would expect that demographic would again tip towards that particular candidate this time round. But it's among the white vote, I think, in particular, where Trump sees his advantages coming through, particularly among working class and lesser educated white voters who seem to be more keen on voting for Trump, and that partially explains why those states that I mentioned just now around Michigan, Ohio, etc., that they may go for Trump. So again, there is some predictability in what we're going to see ahead of us over the next few hours, but it could be an election that sets new trends in the way that voting turns out in particular states.
It's also set new lows in terms of how the campaign has gone. I mean, it's been such a dramatic and brutal campaign. Do you think a lot of voters are actually disillusioned with politics in the US right now?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's one of the major factors, actually, that we're going to see play out today, is the degree to which voters will actually bother going to the polls. It could be that they're so disillusioned with both of the candidates that are on offer that they're going to be dissuaded from actually turning up and casting a vote for either candidate. I think there are people who are die-hard Republicans who have looked at Donald Trump's campaign and thought this is actually rather embarrassing. A lot of the things that he's been saying go well beyond the pale of what you would expect a candidate for presidential office to ever say. And Trump has been saying things over and over and over that seem to upset an awful lot of people. So I can see certain Republican voters who would find it very difficult to cast a vote for Hillary Clinton, who's much disliked on the right in American politics, but can't bring themselves to vote for their candidate, actually staying away from the polls. You might argue the same thing on the Democratic side, where obviously through the primary season, Bernie Sanders had a lot of support. Clinton did pull ahead, but there's certainly a lot of voters on the Democratic side who would have preferred another candidate. They don't like the way that Hillary Clinton has engaged in some of the campaign, and also the questions, of course, about her honesty and the political manoeuvring that she's supposedly taken part in over the years. And so, again, they may be are rather hesitant to go out. It almost feels as if it's the negative that's going to win here. Whichever candidate you feel the most upset with and you would rather not see president, you might go and vote for the other individual. But I think turnout will be a major factor. If one or other party can really get their voters to go out, those that would traditionally vote for either Republican or Democrat, that could win the day.
Interesting stuff, Trevor. Thanks very much indeed for that. Trevor McCrisken there from University of Warwick.